Ivory Coast and Ghana, the world's two largest cocoa producers, have agreed to better cooperate on pricing and combating child labour in the industry. Ivory Coast accounts for more than 40% of the world's output and Ghana at least 20%, but more than half of their growers live below the poverty line.
The two West Africa producers joined forces in 2019 to try to get more from the chocolate industry, obtaining a premium per ton of cocoa. But the coronavirus pandemic has hit global demand, and buyers are reluctant to see prices rise with a surplus in supplies. Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister, Shirley Ayoko Bochwe, said they had agreed to form a joint body to cooperate over research, price setting, and child labor. The world's chocolate market is estimated to be worth more than $100 billion, concentrated in a few multinational corporations. Experts in Ivory Coast say that cocoa prices are still low. Even with the so-called living income differential, the two countries negotiated with chocolate makers to help farmers.
Well, to get a little bit more on this, we're now joined by Dr. Emmauel Opoku, who's the Deputy Chief Executive for Operations at the Ghana Cocoa Board. Dr. Opoku, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All right, perhaps you can take us through the journey that got you to a point where Ghana and Ivory Coast decided that you ought to cooperate in terms of pricing your products.
Well, first of all, I would want to say that it is not, we have not intended to cooperate to let's say, get the better or best prices of cocoa. That is not the objective of the living income differential. The LID which we negotiated and achieved was on the basis of us asking industry to look at the situation, look at the value of the cocoa that is sold on the market and the end product and the entire value that comes out of the process, and consider giving something that is worth the effort of the farmers. So it wasn't that we wanted to get a premium for our beans, but rather was we sought to demand something that we felt was commensurate with the work and the effort of our farmers. So that is how come we came to develop and realize what we call the living income differential for Ghana and Ivorian farmers.
All right, so what does this cooperation do? What can you do together that you can't do on your own?
Well, I think that there's unity in strength. I want to quote the Bible here, that a house divided against itself cannot stand. When you are together, you can achieve much bigger than when you operate individual units. And if you look at the history of West Africa, Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, or Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana, we have certain cultural similarities. Some Ghanaians live in Cote d'Ivoire, some Ivorians have their roots in Ghana. So we are bonded. It's only the international boundary that separates us. But if you look at culturally, Ghanaians and Cote d'Ivoire Ivorians are actually they have some blood relations and long family ties. So this whole thing that we are doing is to remind us that we are one people, and when we work together, we can achieve something better than we are doing individually.
The challenge for cocoa growers has been a vast majority of them pretty much work on a subsistence level, and one wonders how you can produce so much cocoa and yet you're still having producers, farmers farming at small scale levels. What can be done to change that?
Well, two things. First of all, we we are working to help farmers to increase the yields per unit area. That is number one. So that even if you are doing on a 2-hectare plot, what you realize from that unit of 2 hectares will be something that that is valuable, and you can even spend some to invest in other areas. We know that producing or living on, let's say, produce from only 2 hectares throughout the year is not good enough. And so the first point is to be able to assist these farmers, to increase their yields, and then the extra incomes that come to also help them to invest in other areas to support them. So we know that not all the farmers are producing at efficient levels where they can get the best out of it. So eventually, what we are doing, we will surely see some farmers maybe going out because they may find other areas more lucrative than what they may be doing. And this is common in any field of business activity. So once we help farmers to raise their income levels through yield increases, they also are being given some entrepreneurship so they can invest part of the resources that they are making into that area. Cocoa doesn't produce all year round if you're not doing irrigation. Even if you were, there are periods that you get high volumes where your income levels can be significant enough. And during the lean period, you can invest in other areas. So that is the key objective. The cooperation we are into right now is to help our farmers to achieve this level of recognition so that they can live better than they were doing before.
A lot of people will talk about the disparity between a multi-billion-dollar industry, particularly when you consider the cocoa purchasers, how they convert your cocoa into this multi-billion-dollar industry. But you, the growers of these products, seem to be right at the bottom of the food chain. Is this part of the journey that this cooperation is going to go on? You talked a little bit earlier about fair price.
Yeah, precisely. It's just for us to secure fair prices for our growers, because we know the value that the chain creates at the end of the day, from the upstream to downstream end of the chain. We know at the end of the day what value is coming out of the produce. So we felt that the producers also need some form of recognition so that they can earn something that is commensurate with the effort they are making. So we are not doing anything extraordinary, but all we are doing is to become united and let the value chain actors understand that it is important to consider the sustainability of the industry, or to make it a priority, so that we can all live in harmony and then share the value that comes out of the industry proportionately.
So the fact that a lot of these cocoa producers are small-scale subsistence farmers by and large, is this why that there is sadly a number of child laborers that are found on these farms?
Yes. You see, we recognize that some of these small-scale producers, they are not making good yields from their farms. What it means is that they are not making good revenues from their farms, and labor is costly, and so they are using the same revenues from the farms to finance the cost of labor. So if, for example, they cannot do that, they will resort to using their families. Some of them are children to support the family effort. Now, what if farmers, number one, are getting better prices, and number two, yield levels are significantly up, then it gives them the financial strength or capacity to hire labor. This is a fact of life. I mean, any business person, you have to have, your cost of operation. And if you don't have that, you cannot afford it, you resort to other means. We want our farmers to use hired labor, responsible labor. So one of the ways we can achieve that is to get fair prices for them.
Are you still there, Dr. Opoku?
And I think that this is and how to invest part of your resource in hiring labor responsibly.
Do the growers know that child labor is illegal? Is it that they have no choice? Yes, it is a difficult environment and money's very tight, but do they know that they're breaking the law?
You see, you need to define what child labor is, because we are in a family setting where you need to help your children as they grow up to understand the business of the family, and then join in as they grow. That is different from using the children to do things or work that has been defined as excessive and affecting the well-being of the child. So we have explained the concept to them. The farmers know that there are certain activities that children are not supposed to be doing, or they are not supposed to do. So this is education that has been ongoing for a couple of years now. A lot of farmers know, and well, others may know, but they may not have the wherewithal to hire labor. So what we have done, gradually our farmers are getting to know. They have actually gotten to know what is forbidden and what is permissible that children in the family can do. There's one other area that is of concern to all of us. If you look at the family setting, one family lives in a cottage that is at the center of the farm. During the year or during the season, maybe they apply chemicals. In Ghana, we hire labor, paid labor, to spray all cocoa farms in Ghana. So in every year, Ghana Cocoa Board, we hire about 50,000 people to do that job because the landscape is big. However, if they get to communities where the village setting is at the center of the farm, when spraying activity is ongoing, these children have nowhere to go. But that is seen as child labor. That is seen as worst forms of child labor. So the cultural setting, and these farmers live on their farms in the communities outside of the towns. So the question is, what happens when some of these farmers, they may not even understand? So education is ongoing. During application of chemicals, farms that are located, households that are located at the center of the farms in the communities, what you need to do is to keep the children out of the scene so that they are protected. And it takes a lot of work and education because the area is vast and the natural levels of education, naturally, the levels of education are quite low. So, but it is through the effort that we are making, telling the farmers, public education, telling them what is right and what is not good to do. That is where we are going to achieve the objectives of the two countries when it comes to the issue of child labor.
Dr. Emmauel Opoku, that's where we're going to have to leave it. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We wish you the best of luck with the fortunes of your producers, your farmers, as well as the children that are working on these farms. Thank you so much for your time. Medasi.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so that's the Deputy Chief Executive Officer for Operations at the Ghana Cocoa Board, Dr. Emmauel Opoku.